We usually believe we are in control of our thoughts, choices, and actions. I decided this. I chose that. But if you pause for a moment, a subtle doubt arises. Was that really me? Or did something happen inside the mind before I even noticed? Science tells us the human brain contains nearly 90 billion neurons. Out of this chaotic electrical storm, a strange illusion appears. The feeling that there is one single person inside, a central me, who is thinking, choosing, and deciding. Vedanta asks us to examine this, not as a philosophy but as an experiment. What is actually happening behind the scenes? Today, we are going to look at the two systems running your life and the one thing that can actually set you free. Modern psychology tells us the mind isn't one single voice. It operates through two distinct systems. These two systems are active all the time, silently shaping your decisions. They influence what you buy, whom you trust, and even how you see yourself. This explains an important puzzle. Why do we trust our gut instincts, even when they turn out to be wrong? And why do we overanalyze some decisions, but rush through others without hesitation? First, there is the fast system. This is your autopilot. It's instinctive, emotional, and totally effortless. Think about your daily commute. Have you ever driven home from work, lost in thought, and suddenly realized you've arrived in your driveway, but you don't remember taking the last 3 turns? You stopped at red lights, you used your turn signals, you avoided other cars, all while your conscious mind was thinking about dinner. That is the fast system driving the car. Think of this system like an impulsive friend, very helpful in emergencies, but not always careful. For example, imagine scrolling online and seeing a headline that says, "Celebrities are shocked by this one habit." Before you question it, curiosity pulls you in. The fast system assumes urgency and importance. Only later does logic ask, was this actually useful? Then there is the slow system. This is the analytical engine. It's deliberate, logical, and frankly, it's lazy. It only wakes up when it has to. If I ask you, what is 1 plus 2? Your fast system screams 3 instantly. But if I ask, what is 32 multiplied by 17? Silence. Now you have to engage the slow system. You have to focus and break the problem down piece by piece. It takes energy. Here is the problem. Because the slow system takes so much energy, your brain prefers the autopilot. It hands over 95% of your life to the impulsive, fast system. It influences who you trust and how you react to your spouse, all before you've actually thought about it. Because the fast system wants to save energy, it uses shortcuts. We call these cognitive biases. Confirmation bias. You already believe something, so the mind looks only for evidence that supports it. For example, you believe a certain person doesn't respect you. So when they reply late to a message, the mind immediately says, "See, I knew it." But when they are supportive or helpful, those moments are quietly ignored or explained away. The mind selectively notices only what confirms its existing story. Confirmation bias isn't about finding truth, it's about protecting a belief. Authority bias. We trust something because an expert says it. For example, you see a headline, "Doctors recommend this product." Before asking which doctors or based on what study, the mind already feels reassured. The label replaces investigation. Availability bias. The mind judges reality based on what comes to memory easily, not what is actually common. For instance, you see recent news about airplane crashes. Suddenly, flying feels dangerous, even though statistically it's far safer than driving. The mind equates repetition with risk. Social proof. If many people do it, it must be right. For example, a restaurant has a long queue. You assume it must be excellent even before tasting the food. The crowd becomes the evidence. Or consider the halo effect. If we meet someone who is good looking or well dressed, our fast system instantly assumes they are also smart and trustworthy. We don't have evidence for that, but the mind fills in the blanks. Vedanta says the danger is not that the mind uses shortcuts. The real danger is that you do not see it happening. You believe you are judging clearly and objectively, while in reality, you are following a script written by the subconscious. This takes us deeper. Have you ever noticed your hand reaching for your phone before you consciously decide to check it? Or agreeing to a plan even though you already know you do not want to go? Neuroscience suggests that up to 95% of our behavior is driven by the subconscious. It is the hidden engine of our life. This engine does not care about happiness or fulfillment. It cares about survival and familiarity. And this engine is continuously programmed by the world around us. Advertising understands this very well. Through repetition, it bypasses critical thinking and plants associations directly into the subconscious. The goal is not persuasion, but familiarity. Familiarity creates trust, and trust turns into automatic behavior. Advertising does not sell products, it sells identity. A car becomes status, a cream becomes youth. The subconscious absorbs these messages and concludes, if I get this, I will be safe. If I get this, I will finally be someone. And so, we chase things not because we deeply want them, but because the pattern feels familiar. As the saying goes, the mind often prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar uncertainty. When it comes to life, there are two different selves operating within us, and they often want different things. One is the experiencing self. This is the part of you that lives in the moment. It feels what is happening right now. Comfort, ease, stress, joy, or discomfort. It knows immediately whether something feels pleasant or draining while it is happening. The other is the remembering self. This self does not live in the moment, it lives in stories. It looks back and decides how an experience will be remembered. But it does not remember everything equally. It focuses mainly on two things: the most intense moments, whether good or bad, and how the experience ended. Everything in between is often forgotten. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you go on a weekend trip. Most of the trip is tiring. Long travel, waiting in lines, minor discomforts. But on the last evening, you watch a beautiful sunset and take a few great photos. While the trip is happening, your experiencing self feels tired and slightly annoyed. But later, when you look back, your remembering self says, "That was an amazing trip." Why? Because it remembers the highlight and the ending, not the many ordinary or uncomfortable moments. This gap between the experiencing self and the remembering self quietly shapes many of our decisions. When planning events like parties, weddings, or vacations, we often plan for what will look impressive in memory, not for what will actually feel enjoyable while living it. The remembering self wants things to be big, grand, and memorable. The experiencing self, on the other hand, wants ease, comfort, and peace. This is also why people sometimes spend too much on clothes, houses, or cars. The remembering self imagines the story, how others will see it, how it will feel to say, I own this. But the experiencing self later has to live with discomfort, maintenance, or financial pressure. The same pattern shows up in career choices. Many people choose a path based on how successful it will sound in the future, how it will look on paper, or how it will feel to talk about it later. Very few pause to ask a simpler question: do I actually enjoy the day to day experience of this work? A useful inquiry is this: am I choosing this to satisfy a future story about myself? Or am I choosing it because the process itself feels meaningful? When you understand which self is driving your decisions, you can choose more wisely. Not just for a good story later, but for a life that feels right while you are living it. So, if the fast system is impulsive, the slow system is lazy, and the subconscious is conditioned, then who are you? This is where Vedanta offers the real shift. The goal isn't to fight the subconscious. The goal isn't to force yourself to think harder. When a thought is simply noticed without judging it or trying to push it away, there is a natural settling. The nervous system relaxes. The fear response softens. You begin to see the subconscious not as an enemy, but as a mirror reflecting old patterns. You recognize this is a conditioned thought. This is not me. Freedom isn't about controlling thoughts. It comes from observing and understanding how the mind functions. When this is clearly seen, the autopilot no longer runs life blindly. You respond with clarity instead of habit. Without awareness, life moves like a blindfolded car. With clarity, you take the steering wheel back. If you want to learn how to practice this witnessing in daily life, watch this video next.